Giridharadhari. Yamunatira vanachari. Yamunatira vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridharadhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridharadhari. Yashoda Nandana Praja Janaranjana. Yashoda Nandana Praja Janaranjana. Yamunatira vanachari. Yamunatira vanachari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Gaur Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Jai Gaur Hari Bo, Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Jai Srila Prabhupada. Gaur Premanande. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Why is that new? Why is that new?
I'll just give brief introduction because most of
They don't know.
Brief introduction of you also.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
We are extremely blessed today. We have with us His Holiness Bhakti Vighna Vinasha Narasimha Swami Maharaj. Maharaj joined ISKCON 50 years ago. In 1971, maybe 51, in London. And since then Maharaj has been actively preaching the message of Srila Prabhupada and Lord Chaitanya all over the world. Maharaj also has served in Calcutta as Brahmachari from 1975 to 77 during Prabhupada times, and he has played a significant role in preaching in Calcutta. All of us are reaping the benefits now. Maharaj has been preaching in many Asian countries for many years now, for last more than 25 years. In China, especially difficult places like China, Taiwan, Hong Kong, Malaysia, Philippines, so many other places. Thailand, you know, all these challenging places actually to preach. Maharaj also took the Vaibhav Bhakti Vedanta courses in Mayapur Institute. Actually, we are very blessed that Maharaj is going to be here for entire Rath Yatra, and every day he will give his session. Both sometimes he will give class there, Bhagavad Kathamritam, sometimes in the evening stage program. Also, he will be every day available for question answer booth to answer devotees and people's questions. Maharaj is also initiating spiritual master in ISKCON, and Maharaj has great love and affection for Prabhupada and his birth city, Kolkata. So we have, every year he has been on the way to Mayapur coming here, but this year he made a specific point to come here and bless us and give his valuable association. So let us thank His Holiness Bhakti Vighna Vinasa Maharaj for coming for Kolkata, 51 Kolkata Rath.
Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Daivim Sarasatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudhirayat Nasta Praeshu Vabhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. So we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam. This is first canto, chapter 9, Passing Away of Grandfather Bhishma Dev. Text number 12. Aho kastam aho nyayam Yad yayam dharmanandana Yad yayam dharmanandana Jivitam narhata klastam Jivitam narhata klashtam Vipradharma chutashraya Vipradharma chutashraya Aho kastam aho nyayam Yadyayam dharmanandana Jivitam narhata klashtam Vipradharma chutashraya Aho kastam aho nyayam Yadyayam dharmanandana Jivitam narhata klishtam Vipradharma chutashraya Aho kastam aho nyayam Yadyayam dharmanandana Jivitam narhata klishtam Vipradharma chutashraya
Aho kastam aho nyayam Yadyayam dharmanandana Jivitam narhat klishtam Vipradharma chut ashraya
Aho kashtam aho nyayam Yadyayam dharmanandana Jivitum narhata klishtam Vipradharma chutashraya
Aho kashtam. What terrible sufferings. Aho anyayam. What terrible injustice. Yet, because yayam all of you good souls, Dharmanandana, son of religion personified, Jivitam, to remain alive, Na, never, Artha, deserve, Klishtam, suffering, Vipra, Brahmanas, Dharma, piety. Just a minute. Achyuta, God, Ashraya, being protected by. Translation. Bhishmadev said, "Oh, what terrible sufferings and what terrible injustices you good souls suffer for being the sons of religion personified. You did not deserve to remain alive under these tribulations. Yet you were protected by the Brahmanas, God, and religion." You can all repeat. Bhishmadev said, "Oh, what terrible sufferings! And what terrible injustices you good souls suffer for being the sons of religion personified. You did not deserve to remain alive under those tribulations. Yet you were protected by the Brahmanas, God, and religion." Okay, we're on. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. Maharaj Yudhisthira was disturbed due to the great massacre in the battle of Kurukshetra. Bhishmadev could understand this, and therefore he spoke first of the terrible sufferings of Maharaj Yudhisthira. He was put into difficulty by injustice only, and the battle of Kurukshetra was fought just to counteract this injustice. Therefore, he should not regret the great massacre. He wanted to point out particularly that they were always protected oh Krishna. I won't be able to read that. They were always
Shall I read the purport?
They were always protected.
Shall I read the purport?
Yeah? You want to read?
Take on mic.
Therefore, he should not regret the great massacre. He wanted to point out particularly that they were always protected by the Brahmanas, the law, and religious principles. And as long as they were protected by these three important items, there was no cause of disappointment. Thus, Bhishmadev encouraged Maharaj Yudhisthira to dissipate his despondency. As long as a person is fully in cooperation with the wishes of the Lord, guided by the bona fide Brahmanas and Vaishnavas, and strictly following religious principles, one has no cause for despondency. However trying the circumstances of life, Bhishmadev, as one of the authorities in the line, wanted to impress this point upon the Pandavas.
Om Jnanatmarandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chaksurunmilitan Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yatha Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sakrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakha Nitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhu vayevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So after the battle of Kurukshetra, Maharaj Yudhisthira was feeling very despondent. He felt himself to be guilty of the cause of the death of so many people. At the battle of Kurukshetra, huge number of people lost their lives. Of course, we could say that was for their benefit, because all of the souls who were killed in the battle of Kurukshetra, they were blessed. They were actually liberated because they died in the presence of Lord Krishna. However, Maharaj Yudhisthira feels himself to be guilty, that he's thinking that because he had so much attachment to having a kingdom and being a Kshatriya, and that was the cause of the Kurukshetra war, and the result was so many people died. So Maharaj Yudhisthira was feeling so much disturbed that even Lord Krishna, although Lord Krishna had tried to pacify his mind, Lord Krishna wasn't fully able to bring him to a peaceful condition. And of course Lord Krishna arranged all this so that Maharaj Yudhisthira, along with the Pandavas, could go to the passing away of grandfather Bhishma. That grandfather Bhishma had fallen on the battlefield and he was laying on his bed of arrows, and he is waiting for the time, the suitable time when he can give up his body. And he had that benediction, of course, by the grace of his own father, Maharaj Santanu, that Maharaj Santanu blessed him that whenever he wanted, he could give up his body. So Bhishma Dev is waiting for the auspicious time to depart from the world. And the auspicious time was actually when Lord Krishna would come before him. That was the best time to leave the world, in the presence of Lord Krishna. And Lord Krishna had come there along with the Pandavas. And of course Maharaj Yudhisthira is there. And for many days, grandfather Bhishma gave instruction to Maharaj Yudhisthira. The major part of the Mahabharata is the instructions given by Grandfather Bhishma to Maharaj Yudhisthira. Often people, in presenting their version of Mahabharata, they minimize greatly the teachings of Grandfather Bhishma, and they just present the battle, you know, what's happening, who killed who, and what happened on this day of the battle and that day of the battle. But actually in Vyasadev's Mahabharata, the major portion of the Mahabharata are the instructions which Grandfather Bhishma gave to Maharaj Yudhisthira. Maharaj Yudhisthira was concerned greatly because now that they had won the battle of Kurukshetra, they have become the rulers of practically the whole planet. Bharatvarsha, the whole world was under the Pandavas. Prabhupada said, Krishna can give you the whole world in 18 days if you know how to use it. And you want to be part of Prabhupada's plan to conquer the world. Prabhupada said one time, we will conquer the world just by Rathi Yatra. Other people bring tanks and we bring our chariots. Right? 3 nice chariots. Tank, yeah. Military tanks. We have our chariots. So this is how we would conquer the world, with Madanga and Kartals and the holy name. So Maharaj Yudhisthira was concerned, now he has become the ruler of the world, and it's a big responsibility, isn't it? Could you imagine taking over a kingdom? You have to rule. So Grandfather Bhishma is giving instructions to Maharaj Yudhisthira in how he should rule, and how all the different members of the society should act in the proper... Thank you, Prabhu. So Maharaj Yudhisthira is being given instructions by Grandfather Bhishma on how he should rule the kingdom, how he should govern everyone. He explains about the duties of people in the different varnas and ashrams. You can find a condensed version of Grandfather Bhishma's teachings. Something is there in 7th canto where you have Narada Muni instructing Maharaj Yudhisthira in similar things. So Grandfather Bhishma, in his first, we read the verse today, that's the very first verse of Grandfather Bhishma's instructions to Maharaj Yudhisthira. And Grandfather Bhishma wants to encourage, Hare Krishna. He wants to encourage Maharaj Yudhisthira, and he wants him to know that whatever happened was actually the plan of the Supreme Lord. At the same time, Grandfather Bhishma is consoling Maharaj Yudhisthira that he understands that Maharaj Yudhisthira had suffered greatly. They'd had... It's working now? Yeah? So the Pandavas headed, along with, of course, Maharaj Yudhisthira, they'd been through a lot of difficulties. They had to go into exile for 12 years. They had to do 1 year incognito. And then before that, they had the disrobing or attempted disrobing of their wife Draupadi. Many different injustices were committed against the Pandavas. They suffered a lot. Grandfather Bhishma is he wants to console them. He's telling them it's amazing you could survive. Most people, when we suffer a lot, we can't bear it. We just want to die. Some people even do. They will give up their life. All the Pandavas had survived and they'd come through everything. And then it came to the battle of Kurukshetra, and they've come out victorious. In the course of the battle of Kurukshetra, they also suffered. They had the loss of Abhimanyu, and then they had the loss of the 5 sons of the Pandavas when Ashwatthama came and killed all the sleeping sons of Draupadi. So this was all terrible sufferings they were undergoing. But Grandfather Bhishma is telling Maharaj Yudhishthira that you're always protected. You're protected by the Brahmanas, by God, and by religion. So the point is that so long as we follow our religious duties, then whatever happens, we should understand it is the arrangement of the Supreme Lord. The difficulties which we undergo, the troubles, the trials and tribulations, the different tests which we have to endure, we should accept them as the arrangement of the Supreme Lord, provided we're following the codes of religion. The codes of religion are given to us by the Lord. The Brahmanas, God, and religion. They teach us the same thing. Just like we talk about Sadhu, Shastra, and Guru. We follow these authorities. Here, Grandfather Bhishma is talking about the Brahmanas, God, and religion. We have to understand what are their teachings, what are their instructions. The Brahmanas means the saintly persons who are dedicated to spiritual knowledge. Not just simply Jati Brahman, not just simply only Brahman by birth, but actually Brahmanical in their behavior and in their actions. The duty of the Brahmana is to teach Shastra and to read the Shastras himself and to worship the deity and to teach others to worship the deity. The Brahmanas are also allowed to accept charity and to give charity. It is sometimes remarked that in the Kali Yuga, Brahmanas are expert in only one of these 6 activities. Which one do you think that is? Yeah. Yes, this is the degradation of the Brahminical culture, that we become simply dependent on others and we don't think of the duty, the contribution which we have to give. Srila Prabhupada told people, I have come to give. I did not come to take. So many people went to the West to take. They'd come and they would talk and they would get money and they'd go back to India, build a nice home and live comfortably. That was not Prabhupada's mood. Prabhupada said, I have come to give what you have lacked, what you lack. God consciousness, Krishna consciousness. This is the actual proper mood of the Brahmana. Right? Prabhupada compares the Brahmana and the Kripana. Brahmana is a generous person. Kripana is a miserly person. Kripana, you have some money, what do you do with it? You count it. you smell it, you look at it, you enjoy it in this way. You don't want to spend it, right? Some people are like that. But the Brahmana, whatever he has, he wants to use it for the service of Krishna. He's very generous. He will give everything for the service of others. Just like in Srimad Bhagavatam, we have the example about Dadichi Muni. Dadichi Muni was approached by Indra. Indra had to fight Vritasura. Indra wanted the Lord to kill Vritasura for him. He was asking Lord Narayan to kill Vritasura for him. Lord Narayan said, I'm not going to kill him, you kill him yourself. But Lord Narayan was merciful to him. He told him, he said, make a weapon, go to Dadichi, ask him for the bones from his body, and you can make a Braja weapon and use that weapon to kill Vritasura. Sounds easy enough, doesn't it? You just have to get Dadichi to give up his body, right? Would you like to give the bones from your body? Of course. That's not a very easy thing to do. We read, sometimes we have devotees, very generous devotees. They may give a liver from their body. Is that you can transplant a liver or something, or a kidney or something. You can take one organ, but to give the bones from your body, wow, that's generous, right? That's real generosity. So Dadichi, he was requested by Indra in this way. So Dadichi says to Indra, don't you know the body is the thing we're most attached to? It's easy enough to give up wealth, or some of your wealth, but to give up your life, to give up your bones, that's the thing we're most attached to. And actually Dadichi's a very renounced personality. He was already willing to comply, but he wanted to hear some philosophy. He wanted to hear what Indra had to say. And so Indra said, sometimes it's very difficult to give charity. For some people it's very difficult to give charity, and sometimes it's very difficult to ask for charity also. Just like sometimes devotees go on Sankirtan, you ask a person to go out on Sankirtan and they don't have a very fruitive mentality and they feel very shy to ask a person to pay anything for the book. They simply give the book and they don't like to ask any money for the book. They just feel so shy, they don't feel so comfortable to ask people for money. And so we get sometimes that happens. Devotees, they're not really meant to be Sankirtan devotees, but still they're devotees, of course. So asking for charity can be difficult, but at the same time giving charity sometimes can also be difficult. Sometimes you go on Sankirtan and you give, you ask people for charity, and they're pious people, but they may be genuinely poor and genuinely in hardship, that they're not able to give charity, and they feel uncomfortable because maybe it's a woman with children and she doesn't have much income and she has to maintain her family, and she's thinking, how can I give charity? I have my children, they're starving, this child needs new clothes and this child needs new books for the school. How can I give away charity to this person? They feel uncomfortable, not able to give charity. So like that, difficult sometimes to give charity. Difficult to ask for charity, and difficult sometimes to give charity. So Dadichi thought, oh, very nice, okay. He was happy, Dadichi was satisfied, and he gave up his body. He knew mystic yoga, and he gave up the life force in the body, and Indra could take his bones and make his Vajra weapon and kill Vritasura. That's generosity. Karna was also generous, he was also generous, right? Karna, we know in Mahabharata how he had his kavachas, and they wanted, so they said, can you give these kavachas? So he cut off his kavachas and gave them. And that way then they could kill Karna in the battle of Kurukshetra. So generosity is a quality of a Brahmana. Brahmana wants to sacrifice for the service of others. He's not thinking about himself. He has no selfish interest. Rather, he is selfless. He doesn't think about himself. He's thinking about others. Right? Full of compassion when we offer a full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. This is the Brahminical mood. So the Brahmins, they protect religious people. If you're a religious person, you follow the religious principles, the Brahminical culture will protect you. God, the Supreme Lord, Lord Krishna is the personality of Godhead. In the Bhagavad Gita, he says, Sarva dharmam paragyashnam mamekam sharanam braja, that if you give up all dharmas and surrender to him, I will protect you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. So people often ask us, what does it mean to surrender? What do we have to do to surrender? And that is described for us by the Acharyas, that there are 6 items of surrender. Anuko yasya sankalpa, pratiko yasya varchanam. Like this, accepting everything favorable for devotional service. What is favorable for devotional service? What is favorable for devotional service? Don't all answer at once. Yeah, many things. Association with devotees, Mongol Arti, Rath Yatra festival, reading Srimad Bhagavad, Prasadam. Everybody wake up, right? Prasadam, just hear Prasadam. Sounds good. Yeah. So these are all favorable. And what is not favorable for devotional service? Intoxication, gambling, meat eating, illicit sex, these things, right? So we give these things up. And then we should also know only Krishna can maintain us. Right? Who's maintaining everyone? Simply Krishna is maintaining, right? And you can see. Lord Jagannath is maintaining everyone. The Rath Yatra festival, big festival. So much money it costs to put on, to organize. Who's maintaining? Lord Jagannath himself. He arranges everything. So many names are there. And how can they do any service? By the grace of Lord Jagannath. Without the blessings of Krishna, they can do nothing. So only Krishna can maintain us. And then only Krishna can protect us. The devotee depends on God to protect us. In Bengali they have the saying, Mare Krishna Rakhe Ke, Rakhe Krishna Mare Ke. If Krishna wants to kill someone, nobody can save him. And if Krishna wants someone to live, nobody can kill him. In this way we understand how Krishna is protecting everyone. And then So God is protecting everyone, Brahmanas, God, and religion, Dharma. We have to know what are the codes of religion. The problem today is people are not educated in Dharma. We do not know what is actually religion. And we can see, even today in India, how there's so much adharma. There is so much irreligion. Everywhere there is intoxication and meat eating. Bengali, it's more fish eating. But, you know, it's the same business, right? It's not Dharma. And then all the other vices come. Because the tongue is not controlled, so all the other acts of irreligion also come. So getting people to control their tongue, this is Dharma. We have to teach people how to practice religion. Education, very important. We have so many big schools and colleges here in Kolkata. People are coming to study. And what are they studying? Oh, computer programming, engineering, medicine. Is anybody studying the science of the soul? Where is the institution to educate people in religious principles? Of course, you may say, well, Krishna said we should give up all dharma, right? Because I just quoted Bhagavad Gita, Sarva Dharma Parigyashna. Krishna said, give up all dharma. So, what is that dharma which we have to give up? That dharma which we have to give up is the Kaitava dharma, the cheating religion. Give up those dharmas. Kaitava dharma, cheating, where we are thinking religion is for arti. We just simply have to follow his instructions. The codes of religion are there in the scriptures. People need to read, they need to hear. Even if they cannot read, at least let them hear from the devotees. That is why we organize this Rath Yatra festival, to give everyone a chance to hear the glories, first of all, of the holy name. The chanting of Hare Krishna can immediately awaken one to transcendental consciousness. And coming to transcendental consciousness, one will begin to inquire about who am I? Why am I here? What is this? Why am I suffering? We should understand the cause of our suffering is due to ignorance. Because of ignorance, we're acting in sinful ways. We're having sinful desires, which cause us to act in sinful manners, and it brings us suffering. We ourselves are responsible for our own suffering. We cannot blame God. Don't think that, God, He's not taking care of me, He's not protecting me. We are responsible our own selves for our happiness and our distress. It's the results of our own deeds. We have to learn what is the proper action for people to perform. How should we act in this world? We should act according to the codes of God. So Srimad Bhagavatam describes those people who are actually intelligent, they will engage in the Sankirtan movement. It is described in Srimad Bhagavatam that in the Kali Yuga, the Lord will come to propagate the Sankirtan movement. And those people who are actually intelligent, they will engage in the chanting of the holy name. Those people who are not quite so intelligent, they will engage in other kinds of activities, and they will worship other gods. Rather than worship the Supreme Lord, they will worship other gods for results which are limited and temporary. You get results. You may get results, but the results you get from worshipping other gods, gods other than the Supreme Lord, will be always limited and temporary. We naturally want to have results which are eternal, which will give the greatest benefit. And we get that when we come to worship the Supreme Lord. And how to worship the Supreme Lord? In the Kali Yuga, the Lord is worshipped simply by Sankirtan. Kali Yuga Dharma, Harinam Sankirtan. Krishna Shakti Vininahi Tara Pravartan. By the energy of Krishna, that energy of Krishna empowered Srila Prabhupada to propagate the Yuga Dharma all over the world, to give everyone the chanting of the holy name. By chanting of the holy name, then the heart is awakened. Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, Jeev Jago, Jeev Jago. Right? Lord Gora Chandra Boli, Lord Chaitanya is calling. What is he calling? He said, wake up, sleeping souls. You're spending your life uselessly in the lap of Maya. You have achieved such a rare gift in this human form of life, but you do not care for that gift. And instead you spend your days decorating your body and your nights uselessly sleeping. Krishna consciousness is to awaken all of us out of our ignorance and to bring us to that transcendental platform where we can understand our actual situation as the servant of the Supreme Lord. Material life, we are all desiring to be the master. We want to be the controller. Krishna consciousness is teaching we're the servant. We're never the master. We're thinking we're the master, but actually we're the servant. Even you may be chief minister, you're the servant. Chief minister also has to serve all the people in her state. She has to think about everyone. Although we're thinking she's the master, but she's the servant also. We're teaching everyone. We're not simply the servant of the state, but we're the servant of all living entities. Devotee of Krishna sees the Lord in the hearts of all living entities, and he thinks how to benefit them, how to give them Krishna consciousness. The Sankirtan movement is very helpful in awakening people, but we have to help them to develop that taste for the chanting of the holy name. How to practice regular chanting of the holy name. Not only just chanting the holy name. We cannot imitate Haridas Thakur. Haridas Thakur could just chant the holy name. 3 lakh names every day. 3 lakh names means 192 rounds. In Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's time, it was customary to chant 1 lakh. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada also told his disciples, if you don't chant 1 lakh, then you're fallen, you're patita. 1 lakh means 64 rounds. Prabhupada went to the West, told everybody 64 rounds. The next day they said, no way, impossible, we cannot do it. So then Prabhupada made some adjustment, just did 32 rounds. Too much, can't do it. All right, 16 rounds, minimum. You must do at least the 16 rounds. And if you don't do that, then I cannot help you. It's that simple. We have to take the medicine as given to us by the acharyas. They have given us the formula, chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. So Prabhupada said, at least 16 rounds every day you chant, and then the rest of the day you engage in the service of the Lord. You do some practical work. Some people are working, some are studying, but keep yourself engaged. Don't waste your time in idle nonsense activities. Use the time for practical activities. But every day must chant minimum 16 rounds. And chanting 16 rounds is the most important of all the instructions of our founder Acharya. It will keep us healthy. If every day we chant 16 rounds, and then at the same time, if you're able to follow 4 regulative principles, that's very good. And if you do like that throughout your life, at the end of life, you can go back to Godhead. Just have to chant 16 rounds, 4 principles. We get people say, oh, 16 rounds, so many rounds. If I only have to chant 4 rounds, I could do 4 good. Some people say like that. They say, oh, it's so many rounds. If I only had to chant 4 rounds. And then they will say, why 4 rounds? If I only have to chant 1 round. Why 1 round? If I just have to chant 1 bead, 1 mantra. So like that, we will want to compromise. We will want to adjust everything. People say, why 4 principles? If it was only 3 principles, we could have many devotees. Why 4 principles? Make it 3 principles. Yes, you can make it 3. The result will be there will be no pure devotees. 4 principles and chant 16 rounds, then this is a movement of pure devotees. Everyone is a pure devotee. But if you compromise, if you don't follow the 4 principles, if you're not chanting 16 rounds, then you're not on that level of pure devotion. There are different levels of pure devotees. Just because I say we're all pure devotees doesn't mean we're equal to Narada Muni or Srila Prabhupada or Vyasadeva. There are different levels of pure devotees. But if we are following 4 principles and at the same time chanting 16 rounds, that means no sinful life. No sinful life. Pure devotion qualifies you for the mercy of Krishna. Krishna is so pleased. So we want to understand how to practice religion. In Bhagavad Gita, it describes the demonic mentality, that what is known as religion is actually irreligion. And what people call irreligion, that is often religion. People don't know what is actually real religion anymore. The education is lost. And that is why the Krishna consciousness movement has come to teach people, to educate people what is actually real religion. The symbol of religion comes in the form of Dharma, the bull. The bull stands on 4 legs: Satyam, Socham, Daya, Tapa. Truthfulness, mercy, cleanliness, and austerity. These four principles are recognized in any cultured society as being very good principles. To be clean. Nowadays, just to get people to take bath sometimes is difficult. People sometimes, many parts of the world, they don't even like to take a bath regularly. Of course, here in India, Prabhupada said even the poor man, he will take a bath. Even he's in the street, he will just take a bath from the faucet or something, he'll have a bath. He doesn't care. Nobody bothers, really. It's not a problem. Prabhupada was so attached to bathing, he was traveling and he was in the airport and he came to Bangkok and Thailand, he wanted to bathe. He'd been somehow in a night flight and he was transiting in the airport in Bangkok and he went into the restroom and he decided, I'll take a bath. I'm going to bathe here. There was no shower. Anyway, Prabhupada's servant gave Prabhupada his gamsha and Prabhupada had his lota and began to take bath in the public bathroom. Very nice. There was a man there taking care of the bathroom and the man couldn't believe it. He'd never seen anything ever like that before. Prabhupada came and took his bath. Devanrita Swami told me how he was traveling on the train in Europe and he noticed on the train in Europe that there was a facility for bathing there and he thought, oh great, I can have a bath in the morning. He thought, oh, I have to wake up early before everyone so I can take bath there. So he woke up early and he took his bath and then he was waiting and watching and he saw no one else ever went to take a bath. Although the train was full with so many people, nobody else took a bath. He was the only one to go and bathe in the morning. That's Europe. Europe is a bit like that because it's so cold, you know, sometimes. So, cleanliness is not only bathing regularly, but cleaning the heart. We have to clean the heart. Cheto darpana marchanam. By chanting the holy name. And you don't have a taste for chanting japa, then do more sankirtan. We always have sankirtan, we have a lot of kirtan, a lot of and if you join the sankirtan, do more sankirtan, you'll gradually get a taste for japa. You do service, you get taste for japa. Susrushro Shradhadanashya Vasudev Kataruchi Shanmahat Sevaya Vipra Punya Tirtha Nashevanat. We get people come to class, you know, maybe like yesterday you had a long walk, you did a lot of chanting and dancing, maybe you didn't sleep very well last night, maybe there were mosquitoes or something bothering you, so this morning you're tired and you sit down, you hear Srimad Bhagavatam, right? We hear Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Sharera Vijajam. When we say Sharera Vijajam, we wake up, right? Everyone's awake. Don't worry, just now coming, prasadam, right? Just be patient. So, cleaning the heart, chanting the holy name. Bathe the heart in the chanting of the holy name. Don't just only bathe the body. It's good, take bath regularly, but bathe the heart also with the chanting. Cleanliness, mercy. Mercy, we spoke about giving to others. Don't kill. Don't kill any living entity unnecessarily. All right? Narada Muni made Magrari into a devotee. Magrari had been killing the animals, and then after he'd started to chant the holy name, he would not even kill the little insects. He would sweep the insects out of the path. So we don't kill any living entities unnecessarily. That is mercy. but especially no meat, fish and eggs. These things are unclean. They're not food for civilized humans. So mercy is not to kill the animals, and then mercy. Austerity. Austerity is to give up pride, to become humble, offering respects to others, amanena manadena, offering all respects to others and not expecting any respect for ourselves. That is austerity. That kind of austerity is also to give up intoxication. Pride is an intoxication, but there's other kinds of intoxication. We know Coca-Cola, cigarettes. Now in India also they have drugs. So many drugs, right? Young people are also taking drugs here in India. So we don't encourage any of these things. This is adharma, breaking one of the legs of religion. And then truthfulness, honesty. To be honest is very important. To be honest about time. Don't waste your time watching movies, Bollywood movies, nonsense programs on television. Use the time, valuable time, to make progress in spiritual life. Use the time to advance. That is real truthfulness. People generally, we waste a lot of time. That's gambling. When you waste time, that is a gamble. Why? Because if you die watching a Bollywood movie, what is your destination in the next life? We don't know. We don't like to think. Not very good. So be very conscious, very careful how you use your time. Don't gamble with our time. And that way you will be truthful. We want to keep these principles of religion. This will keep us in good consciousness and make it very easy for us to go back home, back to Godhead. All right, so we will stop now. We'll ask if there's any questions.
Any questions?
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for beautiful class. You are saying about becoming a pure devotee, chanting 16 rounds and following the 4 religious principles. You are preaching in Thailand and China and all these things. So I wanted to hear how you tell them about giving up meat eating, because they eat all kinds of food. So that is what I heard. I don't know practically, but we want to know, because if you are preaching there, and how you inspire then people to give up meat and fish and eggs and all these things.
Well, how did Prabhupada do it in America? When Prabhupada went to America, how did he inspire people? There were no vegetarians in America in 1960. The young people Prabhupada met, they were not vegetarian. How did he inspire them? He cooked. He cooked wonderful prasadam. Very nice prasadam he would make. He'd make big feasts for everyone. And the devotees would eat the prasadam. Nobody ever said, I want meat. They were all very happy. They'd say, bring me more roti, bring more chapatis, bring me more of that sabji, bring me more of that halava. Prabhupada, he knew how to cook. He was an expert cook. And he cooked, and then he trained the devotees to cook. And they cooked wonderfully. So the main program is, you got to teach people how to cook nicely, how to make nice prasadam. If you cannot cook, then you will have a hard time to make people Krishna conscious. Prasadam is very important in our preaching program. Everywhere in the world, kirtan and prasadam. If we don't have kirtan and no prasadam, how will you ever you'll never make any devotees. We may have wonderful philosophy, very nice books, I don't think you get many people. But if you have kirtan and prasadam, it's a very different story. You get a lot of people, a lot of people. And Prabhupada used to point to the devotees to say, you became a devotee because of prasadam, and you also became, and the devotees they would all go, yes, Prabhupada. They all agreed, nobody denied it, they all said yes. We came because of prasadam. Prasadam, the secret weapon. So you have to make nice prasadam. You have to have very nice, sumptuous prasadam. And then people will be, they're very happy. We want people to take up Krishna consciousness. Krishna's all attractive. So, prasadam is very important. Prasadam has to be very attractive.
Maharaj, you said that if you don't have taste for chanting attentively, then we should try to do more Sankirtan and service to the Lord. So why is it like that Sankirtan is more easy and doing japa is more difficult?
Yes, Sankirtan. Prabhupada said, machine gun. Everybody gets a mercy. That's Sankirtan. Right? Japa is individual thing. But we need the machine gun, the Sankirtan. Certainly very, very helpful. And by service, by serving the devotees, great service is done. By such service, one gains affinity for hearing the message of Vyasadeva. So devotees are coming, they are helping to serve, to distribute prasadam and to take care of guests and to distribute books and these things. By doing service, we get the blessings of Krishna. And that gives us taste for chanting. People who do service, who are doing a lot of service, they will go on to become the good devotees. Service is very helpful, very purifying. Mahat sevam dwara mahur vimuktes. By serving the devotee, opens the doors to liberation. Sometimes people say, touch the feet. No. Prabhupada said, bring me my slippers. Better you bring me my slippers. Don't just touch my feet. Service. It's service which purifies the heart. So people who are active in service, they will be more qualified to get the mercy of Krishna. And they will get the blessings of the devotees. Because they're doing service, they get blessings from other devotees. Just like there's this one devotee from India, he went to America, one of Bhakti Swami's disciples, he went to America, there was a group of them went to America to do book distribution. And in one day, this one devotee distributed 3,000 big books. 3,000, and he had already made the world record before, but it was like 2,000 or something. But now he's over 3,000. In one day, he distributed like 34 sets of Bhagavatam. 34 sets of total was 3,004 books in one day. So naturally, all the devotees are like, they're all blessing him, you know, they're saying, oh, wonderful, you know. So, with the blessings of the devotees, you go on, you can do more service. There's so much service can be done. People were thinking, how could ever distribute 100 books? This one devotee did 3,000 in one day. That's in America. Oh, you say America, everybody's rich there. Oh, Really? Well, it's not true. Not everybody is rich. And not everybody is pious. But somehow, anyway, this devotee distributed a lot of books. Nothing is impossible. Impossible is the word where? In the Fool's Dictionary. Only the fool will say impossible. But Prabhupada never thought, they all thought Prabhupada going to America, impossible. Prabhupada showed it's possible. Krishna is in everyone's heart. Everyone can become devotee. We have to just have faith, be convinced. Okay, Hare Krishna, thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Bhakti Vrinda ki.
His Holiness Bhakti Vighna Vinasa Narasimha Swami Maharaj ki.